Welcome to our first podcast. This is A World of Gaming, featuring your host, Cornelius, and your co-host.
Oh, I'm supposed to say my name? Uh, Errol.
Errol, yes.
Or Tilda. Or the person in the room who talks with Connie.
Indeed. So, yeah, this is our first podcast ever, and a first venture into the podcast world. It's kind of a leap of faith, and we're both very nervous. But hey, we're both very ready.
I'm actually pretty fine.
Oh, well, it's just me then.
Yeah, just you.
Yeah, just a deep voice.
You're
guy.
alone in this.
And, well, really, today...
You're really putting on a podcast wise.
Yes. It's gonna take a time before I, have a normal
Talk
voice.
it off.
I gotta talk it off.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll get used to it once we get into it.
It's like being that guy when you're around girls. You're something to be like, hey, how you doing?
You were never like that around me. How am I
No.
supposed to feel about that?
No, that's how it all happened. Always
You
comfortable.
weren't like that. Yeah, okay.
Well, there's a big day coming next week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
And that is the release of a new game by Nintendo.
Or new game. Well, the game is new, but the franchise is not. It doesn't feel like a new game, if that makes sense. It feels like an update to all the other games because it's still the same game.
Yeah, it is. It's the good old Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
And a good old Animal Crossing, the new title, A New Horizons. That was very nice.
That was not planned.
That was not planned. Yeah, New Horizons. And this is actually going to be my first Animal Crossing game.
Yeah, the last new main game in the franchise. Can you guess how long it's been?
Isn't it been like... isn't the first game was on GameCube. That means it
Yeah.
must have been from the 2000s.
Yeah, that one's 2001, but now I'm talking about the last release, like before this one.
Oh, you mean A New Leaf.
Yeah.
Yeah, Animal Crossing A New Leaf.
No,
Well-
just New Leaf.
Okay, just New Leaf. Just a New
Animal
Leaf.
Crossing New Leaf.
Yeah. Okay.
Leave.
A
Leave.
Leave.
Everyone is assholes.
Okay, so that must be a couple of years ago. I'm thinking like 3 years ago. Something like that.
Wrong.
Wrong?
2012.
2012?
And the last update to that is actually the Welcome Amiibo pack. That allowed amiibos and stuff to be used in the game, so it got like kind of an update thingy. Was in 2016.
Seriously?
Yeah,
My
there's been
God.
a couple like spin-offs, like Happy Home Designer in 2015, which mainly focused on just the design your home type of aspect, and then there's like the Amiibo Festival, which is, I guess, Animal Crossing's answer to Mario Party, which came out the same year.
Yeah, I remember it was like a little down. It's been a down period, but it was a game that was like not Animal Crossing, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's boring."
Yeah, because a lot of people has been commenting also because of the fact of how the Mario Kart had like an HD Animal Crossing stage. People expected a new game, and then what they were thrown was the
Oh yeah.
spin-offs.
Oh yeah, I remember that was a very big deal.
Yeah.
We got Isabelle and like the villager as the playable character in Mario Kart 7.
Yeah, so people were expecting something more, but the
No, Mario Kart 8. Never mind.
Yeah. It's also in the one on the Switch, which is 8 Deluxe. Or
It's just
whatever.
with all the DLC, and
Yeah.
all the extras. So it's basically like the full edition, re-released.
So the releases of them has been pretty off.
Okay.
Like the first one being in 2001. Like this is mentioned as one of Nintendo's like main lines.
Yeah, the biggest one, like the popular ones.
Yeah, which I find funny because when I grew up, almost no one had heard of them. At least of my friend group. But
Yeah.
not a lot of them were playing games. And most of my friends that picked up the game was because I played it.
Yeah, because I don't remember any of my friends ever had Animal Crossing growing up.
Yeah, no, I just remember growing up when I started with Wild World. I've never played a GameCube one. I always wanted to have friends to play it with, so my friend pirated the game, and it was at a sleepover, and
Oh.
we didn't talk after that sleepover, so we never got to play the game together.
Oh, well, that's a shame, but that sounds pretty cool. You got Wild Worlds. Isn't that for
Yeah,
the Wii?
no, that Wild World was for the Nintendo DS,
Yeah,
the
just the
first, the
first.
silver
Yeah,
one.
Nintendo DS.
City Folks were for the Wii.
Oh, okay, okay.
But what just coming back to what I want to talk about the franchise is that there's been like a lot of like Mario releases happening around. There's been a lot of different releases of types of Mario games. Like you have Mario 64, you have Mario World games, you have Paper Mario, you have Mario Party. There's been a lot of Mario going around.
I mean, Mario is like the franchise of Nintendo, and I
Yeah.
don't think there's been more like spin-offs and like
Like
Mario in different settings.
they just like kind of releases frequently.
Yeah.
Like you can always expect like there's gonna be a new Mario game. And as well as with Zelda, there are a lot of Zelda games. If you've seen that timeline, there is a lot.
Yeah, but Mario definitely is like you will never run out of Mario games to play,
Yeah.
and generally like because ever since the beginning, Mario has always been experimenting with what genre it's like it isn't defined.
No.
No, it's like now Zelda definitely is defined, but Mario is like he can do anything, and
Yeah.
we all love the games.
But also Nintendo has really been renewing their franchises, so now Zelda can do a lot more too. But what I wanted to point out was that these games are somewhat frequent. Late years, Zelda not as much. They've been taking a step back because people expect more games. Games take longer to make. They have to get better. Also Pokemon, there's a lot of Pokemon games.
Oh yeah, it's like
But most people has heard if you've heard of Nintendo, you've heard of most likely those three franchises, and you know that there are a lot of games. What's funny with Animal Crossing is that there's actually, except from Animal Forest, which was the first pre-release of like before it became Animal Crossing, which is essentially Animal Crossing for the GameCube, but it was released in Japan as Animal Forest before that. There's only been one, two, three, four, and now five Animal Crossing games taking away the spin offs. The first game, there was 4 years in between releases. And then, so it was 2001, Wild World 2005, City Folks 2008, New Leaf in 2012, then of course the update in 2016, which is not a new game, it's just an update thingy.
yeah.
And then New Horizons in 2020.
So yeah, as you said, it's sporadic release dates of the games, and not that many.
Yeah.
Yet it's quite popular.
Yeah, especially I feel like now that the new one's coming out, a lot of the Animal Crossing fans are coming out of their little Stardew Valley shells or Harvest Moon shells or anything that's like a side hustle of Animal Crossing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's like that. It's similar.
Yeah, it's similar. It's sort of the same type of game. To me, it feels a whole lot of different, but we can get back to that because I've grown up with it. So Animal Crossing will always just be Animal Crossing. Like now, maybe with the new updates and things happening to the newer games, it's gonna feel different. But considering how I remember Animal Crossing, none of the other games seem the same.
Yeah, it's like to me, I didn't even know what Animal Crossing was until I played Super Smash Bros. Brawl, when for the first time in Smash history there was Animal Crossing in it, which was the stage of Smashville,
Yeah.
which is where you had KK Slider. And as such, I didn't know what those character was. And at that time, the Smash Bros. Didn't have Animal Crossing representative as a playable character, so I didn't pay too much attention to it. But I learned at
When
least it
was
existed.
Villager first in a Smash game?
The villager became a playable character representing
Smash 4?
in Smash 4 in
Oh,
Animal.
okay.
That was first time we got an
But
Animal
which is
Crossing
also
character.
funny because Smash does not have a lot of releases as well.
No, and also I believe
That's seen as one of the main franchises at this point, in my opinion, considering how much attention it got with Smash Ultimate.
I'm starting to think that most of the people got to know about what Animal Crossing was because of Smash.
Yeah.
And that's what was is that around the time of Smash 4? Did that happen around the time when New Leaf came out?
I actually don't know. You're the Smash 4 expert.
You know, I kind of want to find out real quick, just because it's kind of important in the timeline of the game franchise and whenever it actually got popular, because it had a spike at some point.
Yeah. While you do that, for anyone who does not know what Animal Crossing actually is, I'll just explain really quickly. So, what all the games do is that you're a villager who moves into this town with a lot of other villagers. At least in Wild World, City Falls, and I believe in New Leaf, there's only 4 other villagers except from the mayor, Isabel, and like those main characters who like sell you stuff, or they're not main characters, but special villagers as they're kind of called, who are like the shopkeepers or Rooster who owns the cafe or the museum guy, Blathers and stuff like that. He's now called the museum guy. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
Okay, okay.
But so what you do is you move in here, you get your own little place to live. In New Leaf, you get a tent. In the other games, you get a house. And then you build your life there. More villagers move in, you pay on your mortgage, you build up your house, you get to know the villagers, there are festivals and stuff happening. There are kind of like a Christmas thingy. And what is about Animal Crossing is that it happens in real time. Which means that if, for instance, today we're recording at 9:16 p.m. on a Thursday night on the 12th of March. In Animal Crossing, it's 9:16 p.m. on the 3rd of March.
Well, let's see that. Look at that. So it's like a real life simulator
In a sense.
in one way. It's like the very cartoony version.
Yeah, it's like you build your life, you do things, and you build like a routine. Kind of. A lot of people say that the previous Animal Crossing games are like games that you might play a bit of in the beginning because you get like a part-time job to start paying down your loan, and then he will help you and have you Tom Nook. He's a Tanuki, and he is kind of like the entrepreneur of the game. He's actually the one who's introducing New Horizons in this entire thing, building like an island package and stuff, but we'll get back to it. So you have to pay down your mortgage to this guy called Tom Nook, who you don't really know. So what happens is you get to your city, you walk into your front door, and you're like, this place is cool. So you walk out, and he meets you, and he's like, hey,
You want to buy this house?
you want to owe me some money?
Yeah, you can buy it. Don't worry. You just take a big loan.
Yeah.
It's a scary world, even in Animal Crossing.
Which I find kind of funny. But, yeah, Animal Crossing, the previous games, you come home from work or school and you play 30 minutes a day and then you hop over to your other things. It feels like that type of game. What they've done now in New Horizons is add a lot of new things. So you can terraform your island, you can build paths, you can suddenly place furniture outside, which was first introduced, I believe, in Happy Home Designer. But that again was a spin-off, it wasn't an entire game. Now you get to do it in your actual town, actual game. There's a lot of focus on online activities, visiting other islands, and a lot like playing with your friends. It's not been that high a focus in the previous games.
Yeah, it wasn't that accessible either. The online service wasn't that good back in 3DS era, and before that, the Wii was very limited in online.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see how they've done it. It does seem they've done it a bit weirdly when you play on the same Switch because
Does someone share the same island or something?
yeah, everyone shares the same island, but that's how it was on if you had one cartridge on the DS with Wild World, everyone had the same city.
Yeah, but that makes sense.
And in City Folks, or Let's Go to the City, depending on where you're from, it's the same game. Um, you have the same city. You have
Yeah,
the
well,
same town.
okay, but now it's the same concept, but in a new game, you have all the same island.
Yeah. So what New Horizons has done is moving it from like this town in the middle of nowhere to this island in the middle of nowhere. So what they're talk like the way it's presented is that this Tanuki Tom Nook, he is presenting you a deal. It's like a resort type of thing. You get to go to this deserted island and you get to build your own thing from the ground up.
It's like the name New Horizons is like you're beginning from a clean slate. And this Tom Nook, this Tanuki, the little bear guy, he's basically the guy
A
who's
bear guy?
Tanukis are like bear-like.
No, they're raccoon dogs.
Raccoon dogs. Okay, fine.
Japanese.
He looks very cute. If you search him up, Tom Nook, he looks cute. A little tired. But yeah, you get a whole island. You start from like begin from nothing, basically, just a tent.
Yeah. So he starts off with his. I don't know if they're like. I don't know if that's ever specified. I should probably have checked that up before now, but I don't know if they're his like, if his their uncle or something. But he builds it up with these young Tanukis called Timmy and Tommy.
Yeah, little kids, helping him, like little
Yeah.
helpers.
I didn't see them. I was really bad at paying them mortgage and stuff, and the more money you spend at the store, the better it get upgraded, like Nook's Cranny and stuff. And I was really bad at those things. I just did my own things. I made paths out of holes. I blew all my money on weird interior design. Never upgraded past a third stage in my house. I made my own little story. I didn't follow the game. If that makes sense.
But it seems to me that Animal Crossing, it seems like there's a lot of mundane tasks.
There are a lot of mundane tasks. Yeah, it's like go shake your tree to get your peaches, collect bugs, fish, sell all of those or donate them to the museum, and pay down your mortgage. Get to know your villagers. In a lot of games, that seems like more or less is it. Like you do get a bigger and better town after a while. Like things gets upgraded, you get a fountain, you can get your golden tools. If you take care of the outdoors of your town, you can get a golden watering can. So there are goals, but there are long-term goals. A lot of them are not there and done.
Yeah, but like you can kind of appreciate like the game offers you sort of like a progression system that's slow, but it incentivizes like short bursts of gameplay every day. You just come in, log in, or you open your DS or open your Wii. You play for like 30 minutes to an hour. You accomplish what you need to do. You close the game and you do anything else, and you come back the next day. And it's almost as if you're visiting another world, and it's moving and breathing as you were not playing it. And then you just do your daily activities.
Yeah. I feel like for a lot of people, if for instance, I noticed that when I have a lot to do, when I have a lot of friends around, when I have a lot of work happening, or specifically when I'm social, I actually play less Animal Crossing. It becomes more boring. There's nothing happening. But if I've had a long day at work, or it's been a long, quiet weekend, or I've been sick for a little while and I've had to stay home, Animal Crossing seems way more fun because you get to jump into this other world where even though it's not too much, something is happening. It's like you feel like you're being productive even if you're just sitting there playing.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting because when you compare Animal Crossing to many other games, they like especially let's take the polar opposite when it comes to game time. Like MMOs make you stay and play the game and grind the game for hours and days on end, But meanwhile, Animal Crossing is like you play a little bit, and then some days you might play longer than others, but you never play for too long because the game isn't it isn't created in a way that it rewards you constantly.
Yeah, like a good example is, for instance, Breath of the Wild or Zelda games. A lot of Zelda games you can finish in one day. All the goals and tasks are there in one day, unless you maybe want to collect all the like the
All the Korok seeds.
Korok seeds, find all the shrines, do all the side quests. Even that, it doesn't take that long, especially not if you can use like an online map to show you where everything is. But you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
There's not too much to it in sort of short-term goals. In New Leaf, they did introduce this thing called I don't remember, but it's like a ticket system
Yeah.
where you do tasks like talk to 3 villagers, dig down 3 trees and something, and you get tickets. And when you go to this campground thingy, you can buy special furniture because this campground special villagers who might only be there during festivals or specific events that happens like maybe once a year or once a month, they will visit that area and you can buy their specific furniture.
Yeah, because then it all again, that's the encouragement to not just play on days on end, because you're not getting so much out of it. It's better to just play a little bit and then wait and then play a little bit, so you can get to these festivals, these
Yeah.
events in the future.
But what's kind of nice is that makes it feel a bit more rewarding, because Animal Crossing on a daily basis does not reward you as much as, for instance, Breath of the Wild, a Zelda game.
A Zelda game, or like MMOs, like the big online games
Yeah,
that
or
basically if you
fighting
grind
games.
all day and
Yeah.
you get stuff. It's like you can clearly tell the developers of the game of other games want you to sit down and play it as long as possible.
Yeah, they almost force you to sit down. A lot of the games, like for instance MMOs and stuff like that, I feel they reward you for the longer you sit a day.
Yeah, there's a reason for that, because it's like there's levels that you can only complete in one go. You can't just stop and save and then come back the day after, you know?
I myself don't really like those games.
Yeah, not me either.
But back to Animal Crossing. So, there's one thing that I wanted to discuss. Is that even though this game is extremely mundane, and we've discussed the fact that it gives you still a sense of you're being productive. You've sold your fish today. You've donated 10 bugs to the museum. You've talked to 5 villagers. You've been social. But what makes people keep playing when it's the same day in and day out?
That's very well. It kind of is touching about what we talked about earlier, but it still, yeah, you're right. It doesn't answer the question. This is mundane tasks, real life things like fishing. Like, okay, I guess catching bugs, as far as I understand, digging holes for fossils, um, shaking
Like,
trees for earning money. You know,
about that, the holes in the ground is marked, or where you can find fossils and other things. It's usually marked by an X in the ground, and you can only dig up a certain amount during each day, and it gets reset every day. So digging up a certain amount of fossils, 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 fossils,
fossils. Or
fossils,
fossils.
ha.
Fossils.
Yes. Digging up a certain amount of fossils a day will then make you run out of fossils to dig up, and you'll have to wait until the next day.
Well, that's one. That we kind of touch upon one of the reasons why people come back playing it. At least is that the game is designed in such a way that you have to wait until the next day to get your
Yeah.
daily reward.
And another reason I think people do come back is also because of the fact that the shops also gets new furniture, clothing every day, and
Restocked.
if you then miss a day, you're gonna maybe miss a special item or something. Like if you're collecting a set of furniture, you might miss that set of furniture, like a piece of that set. But a lot of people, me including, is doing another thing that makes Animal Crossing for me more interesting and easier to grind for bells, which is the money in the game essentially. That is, you can time skip.
Oh,
Yeah. In previous games, like in Wild World, I think you had to change the dates on your DS itself. But on New Leaf, but I think also City Folks,
Okay.
you could change it in game.
Okay. Yeah.
They would ask you the time is yeah, like you could go in and they could say, okay, the time is this right? And you can change it, so you can change to any like holidays. What I would do is often, if I did like if I spent New Year's with my family, I would go back in time and spend New Year's in Animal Crossing again at 12.
Yeah.
Because I want to celebrate with the villagers as well.
Yeah, that's really nice because if the game always matches real life events, you're gonna either miss it or have to spend it playing the game, which I'll say is it's not always okay, you know.
Um, One of the other reasons why I think people come back to it in later days when they're grown up and stuff like that about that, Animal Crossing is a game for everyone. Like it's not a game for everyone in the type of in the style of everyone, but people most ages can play it as long as you can read and understand what the buttons are.
Yeah.
I actually played it before I knew English and before I properly could read, so my mom had to translate a lot for me.
That seems kind of tiresome for
Yeah.
her.
Animal Crossing was the game that taught me the word shovel.
Shovel.
Yeah. But I did learn some English from it actually.
Well, yeah.
But when I was playing alone, for the first part of the game, or the first maybe year I owned it, I never got past a part-time job in the very beginning because I didn't understand what Tom Nook wanted from me. This crazy raccoon told me to do things and I didn't know what. I thought he just gave me gifts. Like in Wild World, he gives you some saplings and some flowers and he asks for you to place them outside his shop to make it look better. So I was like, "Oh, thank you for the gift. I'm gonna place this at my home."
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, like it's still registered as me having done it, but I didn't understand that. And then suddenly he would be like, deliver this to this villager. And I would be like, why did you put a packet in my inventory? What am I supposed to do with this? And I would just store it for later. And I couldn't use all the shops. Before you're done with a part-time job, you can't buy any furniture. It keeps you behind on a lot of things.
But then what kept you playing the game then, in that sense?
Imagination.
Imagination.
Imagination. I created my own little world.
So yeah, for you as a kid, that was what was fun for you.
Yeah.
So imagine that for Animal Crossing, it is really different for what kind of demographic you're asking. That why is this game fun?
Yeah. And I also think that counts for a lot of people um, with the thingy about the imagination. I do think that for a lot of people, it's just escaping the real world is what makes Animal Crossing fun. But another thing about that is that in later years, Animal Crossing is boring to me. I do love it. Everything is cute. Please don't hate on me, people. I'm sorry. But it's become boring. It's become too mundane. As I've grown up, it resembles my life a bit too much. It's not a new thing. Right, as a kid, I could pretend to be a grown up. I had my own place, blah, blah, blah. I have my own place now. You know, when I was paying down my mortgage, I was thinking about my student loan that I had to pay down. I thought about other things. It reminded me too much of the real world.
Yeah, which is exactly what you're trying to escape.
Yeah, which is why I think New Leaf is bringing a lot of good things to the table of making it more of a build your own town, that type of deal. Actually, before you could buy all your tools, the only tool that would break was the axe.
No, you're talking about New Horizons now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said New Leaf.
I meant New Horizons.
Yes.
Sorry. What I think that they're doing now is that now it's like Minecraft mixed with Animal Crossing.
Yeah, it is.
Because you have to build your tools, you have to gather materials, you can't explore your entire island on your own. You have to build a ladder to climb, you have to build a vaulting pole so you can get over the rivers, and then later you can build a a bridge. And you now get to choose where your villagers will move, so they don't move onto your paths or your hard work. Before, that would be random.
Yeah, but
If,
that's genius, if you ask me,
yeah,
because the problem that you presented earlier, that Animal Crossing in the past, the previous games, had the problem of being too similar to real life, at least for us adults.
yeah.
So we felt like we were just going into another version of the
As
same
adults,
problem.
I'm 20.
Yeah, we just go into another world, we experience the same exact problems, not really being much of an escapism. However, New Horizons is like not many other people can say or can proudly say that, nah, I don't want to play New Horizons because I own a private island. I'm currently building an own town there.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And another thing is that in New Horizons, you can't see your entire island right away. You get to explore it. So there are four different types of islands that you get to choose from. And you can't explore it. You can only see that above map. Now, in all the other games, you could see the entire city right away. Or you couldn't go to the city, but as soon as you were done with the 10 minutes work for Tom Nook, you could go to the city in like City Folks or in I don't remember in New Leaf if you can't go before you're done with Tom Nook, but you couldn't visit the city in City Folks before you were done with Tom Nook. But like I said, it takes max 20 minutes to do.
Yeah.
It's such a quick thing. It's like meet all the villagers, plant this outside, talk to Tortimer, the mayor, talk to all the villagers, done.
Yeah.
Like deliver some things for the villagers. That's it.
Yeah, that's kind of cool the way the new direction they're taking Animal Crossing in this sense.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to be quite healthy for the game. For the
Yeah.
franchise as a whole. And I can see why so many people are excited for it.
But I do also hope that they're keeping some of that laid back, 30 minutes a day gameplay. But it does seem like they're giving you the choice to do that because they're updating all the stores. Like, you can still buy clothing. You can still buy furniture that you actually cannot craft. But a lot of furniture is craftable and a lot is not. They still have the campground where I think a random villager will show up every now and then. And you can ask them to join your town. You can use amiibos, we believe, to get people to move to your town. You can visit other islands, random islands, and get things that you can't get on your own island because you have a set of fruits, you have a set of flowers, but here you can bring things in from other islands. They will sell for more, so you can like grow your own. Like if you have peaches and only peaches on your island, you can go to another island and get your apples, and the apples will cost more, and you can make your little apple farm.
It's like, here's the thing. This is gonna be my first Animal Crossing game,
Yeah.
and I feel like, to me, I wouldn't be so excited going into the previous Animal Crossing games. But what do you think is the reason why this new one seems so more appealing, other than the fact that it's new and has a lot of hype behind it?
First off, it looks great.
Oh yeah,
it looks
definitely.
super cute.
It's super good quality on those textures and the character models and
Yeah.
everything just looks great.
And they have managed to make people freak over the fact that the villagers, the little animal villagers, has toe beans.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
How-
people are freaking out about toe beans.
Toe beans?
What your dog has underneath their little paws.
Oh, small things. Like, so,
Yeah.
so it's a lot of
So-
selling point on
yeah.
the cute aesthetic.
And they've been keeping the game surprisingly secret until like 2 weeks ago, where they suddenly just like direct. And now there's like Japanese commercials. You see banners everywhere. You get small commercials. It might be like 30 seconds long, but people are dissecting these so hard. People have now been able to play it at PAX. Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, PAX.
Yeah. People have been invited to play it over at Nintendo.
Nintendo Treehouse at PAX. You've showcased some of the game.
No, but other people have been invited recently
Oh,
to
okay,
play,
okay.
try out the game, like YouTubers and stuff.
Yeah, but that's also really good Nintendo marketing. But I just think about the entire premise of the game that is very interesting because it's similar to certain other games.
Yeah.
We already mentioned Minecraft.
Yeah, and you have Stardew Valley.
Yeah, which is like the similar, but the only difference is now that it's about farming.
Yeah.
Farming and the same villager interaction. You're moving to a new village.
Also, I do believe that the villagers in Animal Crossing before, they used to not like you in the beginning. You had to become friends with them through trust. You know, they started off kind of assholey, kind of not too nice, kind of a little butthurt every now and then.
I've seen some of the screenshots of what they say
Yeah,
to you. It's straight up just, it's assholery. It's
really.
rudeness.
Yeah, they're being rude.
They're
And
mean. They talk bad about you in the beginning. It's like
yeah.
you talk to them just trying to be friendly. They're like, "Oh, who are you? Go away. I don't like you." I'm like,
Meaning
"Oh,
that when
okay."
they complimented you because you'd given them gifts, you've sent them letters, you've helped them around, it would mean so much. I remember once, like the villagers that I used to befriend as a kid, even if it's so many years ago, it's 14 years ago, maybe. For instance, right? Since I played a game, I still remember some of those villagers. I still remember the first villager I befriended in Wild World because it meant more. In the newer games, oh, by the way, on Pocket Camp as well, which is a mobile app, was released in 2017. I forgot to mention that earlier. Now it's been mentioned. But in that as well, in the newer games, the villagers are too nice from the get go. And they seem a little stupid. It's just talk about food, talk about sports, talk about exercise, talk about, oh, your hair is cute. They have lost a lot of personality.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah.
I think there are like 8, correct me if I'm wrong, character types in Animal Crossing. So you have, for instance, Cranky, you have Sporty, you have the Big Sister type, you have stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you don't really see the difference, except from the sporty guys are talking about sport. The preppy girls are talking about fashion. They're slightly bitchy still, but they're not too bad, right? There's not really too much difference in
Hmm.
many ways. A lot of the villagers I recognize based on looks, but not their name nor their personality. Like, even the ones that I met in the beginning, I can't say, oh no, that one was this type. I don't remember.
But yeah, I guess yeah.
And we're not hating on the game, but we are looking at it from a skeptical point of view, or more from a, what's it called? Like, we might sound like we're talking down a game. I personally really love Animal Crossing, but we're trying to look at the more negatives of to look at what keeps the game there. You
Which
know,
is this the newer games you're talking about?
the newer games is where I feel like they've lost more personality,
But
even more.
yeah, well, do we see that happening now in New Horizons as well?
I don't think we've seen too much about it.
No, I don't imagine they're mean at this point, because you're sort of inviting them. It doesn't quite make sense for them to be.
Yeah.
It made sense in the first game because you are kind of
You're just this new kid.
you're a new person in the village. You know, Stardew Valley
Not
does
that
the
it
same
ever
thing.
makes sense to be mean, but they were skeptical to you. You were a
There,
new face.
there's always a sort of like a xenophobia, you know, foreigners, the one who is not from, you know, you don't know the person. And unfortunately, it's not in real life, that's a bad thing, but
Mhm.
we kind of also enjoy earning trust and kindness.
Yeah, like in Stardew Valley, there are characters you meet who are rude to you, and then when you get to know them, they're these lovely sweethearts, and they change, and like they might just be there's one villager you might never actually talk to, but they've still put in character development.
Oh yeah, it's like character moments with you and the character as you
Yeah,
guys are
but they
getting
also have like
bonding.
short cuts. What?
The short cutscenes,
Cutscenes.
cutscene with the characters.
Shortcuts.
That it's like a bonding system that you can actually become closer and closer to a villager,
Yeah.
and then you will actually have cutscenes and moments with them, and then with some of them uh you can marry.
Stardew Valley is one of the few games that can remind me of Animal Crossing in many ways. But it's still there's more things to do. There's a mine to explore. There are a lot of secrets. There are a lot of things happening in the background. There's a lot more farming. You can have animals. You can have more crops, more different types of crops. There are more villagers from the get go. Only difference is here, villagers don't move in and out of your town. It's the same villagers the entire time, but it's still you have like you get to know them this and this amount of time. You can marry some of them. They feel more real. They do things. They actually have routines every day that changes depending on if it's a weekend or not. In Animal Crossing, it's more random. They just walk around and look around. Now in New Horizons, they're eating, they're sitting, they're reading a book. They can wear glasses. They can have different clothes than before. It seems they have become more expressive, so I'm hoping that that counts for the personalities as well.
So I believe it would. I mean, they seem to be putting a lot more effort into the villages.
Yeah, trying to make the game feel more immersive and alive.
Yeah, the only I can only imagine there would be one problem with all of it is that there's so many villagers, and there's so many that I've seen fans want back
Yeah.
constantly, and that I for being not that many games in a franchise, uh, you guys are now running out of villagers to bring back.
No,
No, no.
I don't know how many villagers there are.
Yeah, I've been playing Smash Brothers, and I can tell you there are a lot of Animal Crossing villager trophies.
Oh, there are.
A lot.
Sorry, I haven't played Smash Dash Mike.
No, we used to have trophies you
Smoosh
can
de
collect,
smoosh.
and they're like character trophies. And Animal Crossing had like a big category of just different villagers constantly. I'm like, I don't even know who these are, but there are many of them.
Yeah.
Now I know a little bit more about them because I know
Uh,
the game.
I think another thing about the villagers I want to say is that there's one villager I'm excited for. He's never been in my town. He showed up first in the GameCube version as the first lazy wolf, but he wasn't a villager in your town. He was only in an island.
Yeah, I've read up on him.
Yeah, he was an islander. And then he showed up in New Leaf as a cranky wolf, and he is the only old villager. And his name is Dobie, and he's a wolf. And I just find that kind of interesting.
What makes it so interesting?
The fact that he is this cranky old guy. There's not a lot of other old ones. It's him. And some of the special characters that had, for instance, the fishing tourney and stuff, they were grown ups, but the fishing tourney, the person walking around selling parsnip?
Seeds, vegetables.
No,
Parsley.
No, parsnips.
Yeah,
Thank you.
parsnip is a type of vegetable.
Think it was that. I am stupid with words sometimes. And think the bug event, the bug off, which is like a fishing tourney but with bugs. So it's a
Oh, so it's a
Bug
bug
tourney.
catching contest.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
they have all been replaced with kids.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
With kids.
They have been replaced with new characters who are kids. So I
So-
do find it interesting how they're swapping out some of the grown-ups and adults with kids, and then they bring back Dobie, an old guy.
Well, yeah. I heard of rumors of Tortimer may not be in the next game because he
Yeah.
is too old and may have, there seem to be sort of continuity in the games they're trying to hold here. That the characters are aging, that they might eventually meet their end, but
Yeah,
I don't
Tortimer
think
was
so.
old since the beginning. And in New Leaf, he more or less retired. He used to be a mayor, and he was actually really afraid of not getting elected again, which is kind of funny.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, I was afraid of being elected?
No, he was afraid of not getting elected. Especially in the Animal Crossing movie. That's like his main punchline is, vote Tortimer! Because there's been an Animal Crossing anime movie thing
Wow.
with some of the characters. Some of those characters are trademark Animal Crossing characters. Some of them are not showing up this time, which is funny to me because they are kind of part of the face of Animal Crossing in many ways for a lot of people who have seen that movie. I remember seeing that as a kid.
Hmm.
But about Tortimer, a lot of people have speculated that he has moved on, passed on. First off, in New Leaf, he more or less retired. You only saw him in island minigames on the side, outside of your village. So you have to travel by boat to this other island, who would then take you by boat to this minigame islands other islands where he would be and introduce you to the mini games.
Yeah, okay.
Now we haven't seen him, but in the corner on one of in the corner when the camera was panning, you saw a gravestone in the back of the island, and a lot of people are saying that that was Tortimer's. There was no name on it. We don't know if it's just a furniture, but a lot of people have been speculating. It's become more of a joke.
I feel like it's a half joke, half truth.
Yeah. It would be really sad because Tortimer was a funny guy to me. He would give you, on New Year's, he would be the one who gives you firework. During fall, there was like a nut festival thingy, and he would put on a nut mask and pretend like he wasn't Tortimer and call himself Nuttimer or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen the footage of that. Like, sort of fascination with like older characters in the game. What kind of can you make out of that? Is it sort of like more preference to a younger audience through older
That's what I'm
younger
kind of
characters? Nostalgia must be that. Well, I guess it's a little hard to know the decision process. I don't know quite what to make out of it. Like
I'm not saying that I have any answers to anything, and I feel like this is more of an open question to you people at home. If you know things about the game, if you're interested in it, to start a little discussion.
Yeah.
In the comments or something. Just, I want to see what other people think of this. It's more me asking a question than me trying to tell an opinion or a thought.
Yeah, because it is an interesting thing. Like, what is the decision process about keeping some villagers? Because some are obvious, especially the new up-and-coming favorite of Isabelle.
Yeah.
That cute dog puppy. The girl that used to be your secretary in New Leaf.
I think she's supposed to be like a Shih Tzu or something.
A Shih Tzu or something, yeah. Very cute. Everybody loves her. And she's returning now as an assistant to Tom Nook. Mm-hmm. And of course, everyone expected that she would return in some form of fashion.
Everyone was like, she doesn't return.
Yeah, like it's like a fan demand at this point.
It's kind of funny.
Like, and then there's like the other ones that you're talking about as more true and hard classics from the originals that
by the way,
not so many people are paying attention to.
I'm sorry, but I'd rather want Tortimer back because I grew up with Tortimer. I didn't grow up with Isabelle. And to be honest, I've actually played fairly little of New Leaf. And what I played, she was just sitting there in the office.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Doesn't engage with you much, I heard.
Tortimer did more. I want Tortimer back. I stand Tortimer.
Yeah, you stand Tortimer.
I stand Tortimer.
Yeah, okay, fine. You stand Tortimer.
Here's
I'll say that I enjoy Isabelle due to her very cute factor.
That's something.
She's very appealing, and
cuteness
she's
does
also
not
a
appeal
playable
that
character,
much to me.
so it's just another. She has become the new face of Animal Crossing. You cannot deny that.
To me, it will always be Tortimer and Tom Nook.
Okay, fine, but you cannot imagine.
And Rossetti. Rossetti is also my boy.
Okay.
My guy.
It's sort of like it's a new direction Animal Crossing is heading. What do you think about that?
Well, I do think it's really interesting, and it makes me more excited to play it because I feel like I need stuff to happen. Like, I don't need big stuff to happen, but I need to feel like I have something to do. I have more of a purpose.
Yeah, well, it's like that's what kind of I feel like the essence of Animal Crossing here is that it allows you to do things that normally isn't so easy to do or becomes a chore. So it's like that's what I feel like it's gonna do, you know. So yeah, I feel as though if you're trying to grasp Animal Crossing at its very core, what make Animal Crossing what it is, from what I understand, one who hasn't played the games at all, just from an outside perspective, is that as you described earlier in this podcast, that whenever you were busy every day, hanging out with friends, doing things you like, you found yourself playing the game a lot less. And you could say that's true for every other game, but Animal Crossing specifically. But whenever you had a quiet week or weekend, or you had a tiresome day at work, or something that just made you feel, drained, Animal Crossing is an energy giver through just mundane everyday routines.
No one can say no when you want to talk to them. They have to be your friends. You do easy thing. It's your town, your place. It's your island. You have control of something.
Yeah, that you regain some sort of sense of control over your day.
And you feel productive.
Yeah, that actually kind of is a key factor, I believe, in Animal Crossing. It gives you a sense of accomplishment and productiveness.
Like, it doesn't give you accomplishment in the same way that a lot of other games do. Like, in Breath of the Wild, you have the accomplishment of, yes, I beat another boss.
Or in fighting games where you reach a high ranking in,
Yeah.
in the
Or you
leagues.
get better than your friends, or even if your friends might be better than you, this one time you beat them, right? You see progress. And if you have played a game, friends to play with, you see them making progress.
And just story games where you feel the satisfaction of seeing a story to the end.
Yeah, you fall in love with characters. You see someone else's life. It's you're a part of a big thing, and you feel like, especially choice-based games like
There's a
Life is
lot of
Strange and stuff like
The
that.
Last of Us, Mass Effect. It's just the name goes on,
Yeah, the name goes on or the list.
No.
No, okay, that's what. No, okay, Connie. Nah, but it's weird. But another reason why I think a lot of people come back to Animal Crossing, especially people who's grown up with it, is nostalgia.
Nostalgia.
Like, you love that one Mario game that I hate. When he is on a vacation.
Oh, you mean Super Mario Sunshine?
Yes.
Yeah, but that's a nostalgia thing.
Exactly. Nostalgia. For me, the controls were whack.
That's not, I mean,
Just
it's
to
a good
use a
game,
weird-
but it's like, it has its hiccups.
It has a lot of hiccups. I really didn't like it. It, like, it's not a bad game, but it felt too silly. It felt out of place for what I'm used to with Mario, and I didn't like the controls.
Yeah, well, that's fair. That's fair.
But I do get that if it's nostalgia, it's nostalgia.
It's a sort of same thing. Like, it's a completely different topic, but I get what you mean,
Like Spyro 1, 2, and 3. They're hardly rewarding, especially in number 1. There's almost no reward. There's just stages, and each stage you can choose to complete 100%, and you get nothing for it. You're just playing through it as not story. So what you're doing is you're rescuing dragons, and then you beat the boss.
Yeah.
More or less. There's almost no story to it. There's almost no reward, but I love it because I grew up with Spyro.
Yeah.
And I think that counts for Animal Crossing as well. Like, I remember when I played Animal Crossing, I could sit for hours just designing a shirt or doing my own thing. And my parents would be so annoyed by that background music. Now, I have listened to that when I work. It makes me relax. It makes me happy. To me, it's not just noise. To me, it's like a feeling of relaxing. It reminds me of when I was a kid.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Sleepy limpy.
Just it's evening. Well, it's sort of it is the mentality. It's like an opposite mentality of what we're actually kind of used to with all these adventure games or the story games or the games that make you feel epic and feel like a hero. And Animal Crossing, it just simmers down. You're living in a village. You're no different than the other ones in the village.
Yeah.
You're just like them, and you're trying to fit in. You're socializing with other villagers. You're making a living for yourself. You're feeling as if you're living a quiet and relaxing life. And Animal Crossing isn't meant to pump you up. Animal Crossing isn't meant to make you
It's
feel
meant to be once you've
competitive.
had a long day, you sit down, relax.
It's a game for relaxing. It's a game to...
But that is something I find interesting.
So do I.
Because a lot of games, they keep you in using adrenaline. Using the sense of accomplishment there and then. Like, what I feel like Bayonetta, you feel cool when you fight things, They're flashy. You put yourself in the shoes of the main character and you're like, that looks so sick. I killed this amount of enemies with 3 attacks when I did a front flip, back flip, and then a spin attack, whatever, they do in those games. I have played some of them. I feel like I sound like I haven't. But you know what I mean.
It's just like it is entertainment,
Yeah.
there's like visual entertainment, and the gameplay makes you feel strong.
It's like playing on the fact that Batman is cool, but when you're controlling Batman, you're the cool one.
Yeah, like in Arkham Asylum, and yeah, and
And you get to make choices.
Arkham City, those games you get to do choice, you get to feel like you're Batman, or like the Spider-Man game where you get to feel like you're Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's like it's all playing on the feeling of fun and cool
Yeah.
and
And
like
satisfaction of
satisfaction.
completing things and doing things that you can't really do in real life.
Yeah, and then Animal Crossing comes along and be like, well, anyone can go out fishing,
Yeah.
anyone can go catch bugs,
But I
and
do
pay down their mortgage.
Yeah. And I do also feel like for a lot of people that's exactly what they need. Because me as a kid, my sister was always better at me at every competitive game. The only thing that I was good at was sitting longer playing, so sometimes I would get further and faster in a game, but also because she was more of an accomplisher and I wouldn't care about collecting everything. She wanted 100%, I didn't give a she.
Yeah.
I didn't give the sky. I didn't, you know what I mean. Um, and I feel like that's the only thing I was good at was kind of finishing the games quickly. Just running through them. Not speedrunner style,
Hmm.
but just getting through it as fast as possible. Stuff like that.
I get that. Because even I'm okay. So I love playing games, competitive games, and action-packed games. Though, to me, they're more therapeutic because I don't really. It's sort of simple entertainment that keeps you going, and it's rewarding because you can get better. A lot of games you can get better at, but I also do always sometimes go back to these games that it's all about just relaxing, doing
Yeah.
the daily activities. It is the satisfaction in a different way.
Like, you really enjoy Minecraft survival, or sometimes Minecraft in creative mode, where survival, you go gather materials, you need to go explore, but you do it at your own pace. Nights and day, it goes along, and you do your own thing. It takes time.
I like things that you need investment into.
Yeah. Or in creative mode, you get all the blocks you need. You don't have to go gather them, but you can build for hours just listening to lo-fi.
Because there's like here's something in psychology. It's like the difference between, you know, like instant gratification and then long-term satisfaction.
Yeah.
Because a lot of games nowadays builds on the instant gratification that you get the rewards here and now. You
Yeah.
do
And
something, you get reward.
what
You move to the next thing, you get a reward, you get a reward, and you get a reward, and that's keep you going.
I find that kind of funny because a lot of with the boomers, we're talking about millennials and zoomers and stuff, is that they suck at long-term plans.
We all suck at long-term
Yeah.
plans.
That's actually a thing within humans that
it's a human
you
psychology
boomers as
thing.
well. Everyone has this. Is that a short-term goal? It seems more rewarding because it happens here and now instead of a long-term one, and which is funny because we also do get a lot of comments on that's more and more normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It happens more and more.
but even if we're more hardwired for short-term reward, we still really, really enjoy a big long-term reward. Something that we can sort of look back at our work and really, really feel proud of what we've done.
Yeah.
And I think this is starting to like dismantle what really makes Animal Crossing so compelling, because it sort of does both in one sense, but focuses more on the long term,
Yeah.
but it gives you the breadcrumbs you need to come back every day.
In my opinion, didn't feel like it gave me enough breadcrumbs.
No, it's not for everyone.
Yeah. But in the newer game, I feel like it's giving me things to do while waiting.
Yeah.
Like, right now, I want to become a photographer in real life.
Yeah.
I have a long-term goal. What I do to keep myself occupied is I podcast with you. I do streaming on the side. I take a lot of photos on my own. I hang out with friends. I do things that make me happy and keeps me satisfied here and now. And I play games to give me those little sparks of happiness
Yeah,
until I reach the long-term goal, or for instance, saving up money for my license.
because you need like a this is like a little stupid analogy, but you kind of need like a little trail of candies until you get to the end goal. You know where the big pot is.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons why I feel like we have weird tests at school, is to not just test us, but give us good grades throughout the school, so we feel like we're winning something when a lot of people don't like that because the school system is outdated.
Well, yeah,
But that's a whole new topic.
that's an entirely big load of discussion of it. No.
Yeah, but it just reminded me of that.
Yeah, it's sort of similar. It's like the faulty way of doing it. It's like
Yeah.
it's when the game makes you work too hard every day, and you barely get anything for it. It's like the long term reward is it's lacking. It's meager. It's nothing. It's like
Yeah.
it's just a little. Oh yeah, you did good. That's what I feel like the Korra quest is in Breath of the Wild. It's like it's a long term goal, little to give you.
Yeah, and that's also one things that, for instance, a game like Dishonored. It had a lot of rewarding cutscenes, a lot like character building. I really liked the gameplay, but I felt that the reward at the end, which is the end of the game. Sorry if this is spoilers, but I'm not gonna spoil what actually happens. But to me, was lackluster. It was. It didn't feel like a reward. It felt like everything I had done didn't really matter in many ways.
Mhm.
Like, of course, it mattered to some degree, certain characters, this and that, but it didn't feel like a reward. It just felt kind of random. It was short. There was no big, huge, amazing boss battle.
Yeah, the same thing happened with many other games. Like
Yeah.
for me, Fable 2 was one of those games. I could just spoil it because nobody's gonna play Fable 2 nowadays. It's a franchise nobody remembers.
Yeah.
But it's basically the whole game has been building up to this big end game boss guy who's been behind everything. And guess what? He's literally just a one shot and he's dead while he was monologuing. And if you didn't do anything, if you just let him monologue, one of the other NPCs does it for you. That's it. So disappointing.
Yeah.
But let me just turn the dial back to Animal Crossing because here's the thing that really makes me excited about New Horizons because now more than ever Nintendo truly is embracing the idea of long-term satisfaction because just imagine how satisfying it is to have an island that you started on with nothing. It was a wild barren island.
You start off, just to explain this.
Yeah.
They send you to an island. You go there with two villagers, and Tom Nook has this tent set up in the middle of the island.
It's one camp, basically.
Yeah, just one area,
Mhm.
and you get to choose everything.
You do
There's
everything.
just nature. You place your tent where you want it. For the first time in Animal Crossing history, you get to place your tent on the beach. You get to have at least 3 stories of elevation. You can create waterfalls. You can terraform everything. You choose where everyone lives. You make your town, and you get to work towards this every day.
Yeah, in just in layman's term, the world's your oyster. You get to do everything you want to do that you can never do in Animal Crossing now. Now everything is up to you, and you get to feel the satisfaction that when you look back, the now big village that you created on this island with so many people moved in that just started from a tent,
Yeah.
a literal tent, and you built everything.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I believe the game is probably going to be structured in a way that is going to reward you with small things because it's the small steps along the way that becomes rewarding. You know, you built your first house, or for the first time you managed to explore that one area of the island you never could access before,
Yeah.
or you got to have this new villager who moved in, who you are super excited to be with.
Yeah.
Or so many other things you can do, and you get to have this material. You can finally build this one furniture, or this one house, or one item that you've been wanting for so long, and you realize after a while, you just realize that suddenly you come this far, because the game is probably going to make you forget that you have a long-term goal, and just going to make you immersed in the process.
Hopefully, yeah.
That's what I want. That's what I'm hoping for, because that's what Minecraft does to me. That's what Stardew Valley does to
Yeah,
me.
like for instance, I've been playing Minecraft because we're making a server that I'm building and starting over again in 1.15.
Yeah.
I'm a bit late. I'm sorry. And I started building a spawn, and then I've been playing survival. And I played for 1 day, and I got so much done. Things that sometimes when I was being just walking around, not understanding the game too much, or not being new to the game. I started half a year ago maximum, and I've had months of pauses, played it here and there. I've been playing it some on stream throughout December. I haven't played the game a lot. I know a lot about the game, and I did play it a lot as a kid in many ways, but it's changed a lot throughout the years. And my main focus used to be building. You know, I mostly wasn't creative back in the days because I was afraid of the zombies as a kid. But now that I am big adult, 20 years old big adult,
Yeah, big adult.
I dare to go down into the mines, and it goes so fast. But you're still just kind of doing mundane things. You're digging stone, you're cutting down trees, you're building a little house from the ground up. There's no huge story to it. Yeah, you can look into hints of stories, and you can
Could do some philosophy.
you can think what might have happened, you can fantasize, you can theorize about what has actually happened here, but the game itself does not have a story. It has a goal of where you're going, and you get an end screen that you can keep playing afterwards, but you don't get a story.
You build yourself your own story.
Yeah.
You're making progress, and I'm just so happy that the gaming industry is putting more focus on that. At least in some
Breath
games.
of the Wild has kind of done that too.
It does exactly that.
Like, what it does is that there are, for instance, one of the shrines that you can get to in the very beginning. You come out of this place in only a shorts. You don't have weapons, you don't have clothing and stuff like that. And some of the Breath of the Wild mechanics is that cold areas you have to wear warm clothes or you can die, freeze to death. Warm areas you need colder clothes that cools you down so you don't overheat and die. In the beginning, you're presented with this one shrine you need to reach to get off a huge plateau that you need a parachute to get down from. And everyone has solved that differently. There are food you can cook that keeps your heat up because this shrine is in the snow, right? And it's the only snowy area you first get to. So some people cook food, some people light a torch and run up with that. Other people find a warm doublet.
Yes, it's the clothing, warm
Yeah,
clothing.
warm clothing that the old man there has. Some people just speed run it and eat a lot of food. There are so many ways to solve one simple thing, and you create your story. You get your very first experience, and then later, once you're off this great plateau, you can run in any direction. And yeah, they will force you to meet enemies. You will have to learn how to fight. Um, you have to use some of the things that you're getting along the way. They're forcing you a little, but you create your own thing. You discover ruins. You discover villages. You discover people. You discover everything on your own. And if you want to get into the history of this world, you can do that on your own terms.
Yeah, basically. I just find it so interesting.
Yeah, but you can also just run to the final boss and not do any of the side bosses, any of the other thing. You can get up this plateau, pick up the first sword you see, run to Hyrule Castle, beat the boss.
And that's like the possibility effect, you know. It give you a lot of choice and the choice of freedom, and that's also another thing that I love that the gaming industry is taking a direction towards and actually doing it well.
And it's kind of the same with Minecraft. You get your first axe, you do your first things. Some people start fishing, other finds cows, make a farm. You have these biomes, different biomes you find, you grow up in, or you build yourself in. You create your story. Some people build a mine right away, other people find other things, some people start building right away. You have so many possibilities because you're just like, hey, have this open world, this huge world. Now you're free.
And the same goes for the new Horizons.
Yeah.
It's exactly that concept now added in Animal Crossing because
Yeah.
you kind of had the same thing going on in the
Like the
previous
island is
games.
smaller
Yeah,
than a
it
lot of
is
these
smaller,
games, but
but
you still have that. There's unexplored areas. You can do what you want.
yeah, but it's like, yeah, as I say, you can do what you want. It's like there, as I understand it, as the game has presented itself in the trailers, it ain't giving you a direction. Like nobody is there's gonna tell you that you're supposed to create a village.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's something that comes of itself. And something the progress is leading to after a while. But how my village or how my island's gonna look is completely different than how your island's gonna
Yeah.
look and how we got there. You might have started, exploring first and started, expanding in your house. I might have just,
Started building right away where
building
you
right away and
were.
putting up random furnitures everywhere. I've started making a garden, or another person might just start fishing a lot and just start selling and buying bigger items and
Some
expanding
people
shops.
get different shops before they get a museum and
Yeah,
stuff like
and
that.
some other people just focus on getting a lot of villagers around, and
Yeah.
that's
And
it.
you're gonna get different villagers, so you're gonna have a different social society around in your village.
Mm.
There's gonna be a different social economy.
Yeah, social economy and different people to interact with. And here's the cool thing: you can, as well. It's just like that amount of difference in options, this non-linearity, and
Yeah.
this focus on the progress is. I have to. Here's my theory. Why is that so satisfying? Is because just like in real life, that's what we want out of a good career
Yeah.
or a hobby that we love. We want to fall in love with a progress, but we want to reach our goal, and the only way we can reach the goal is through the progress. The main the main takeaway I feel
It's
that I
food.
want to that I want to the reason why I want to jump into Animal Crossing now is because I want to build routines and learn how to fall in love with processes that's even mundane and boring and apply it in my own life.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, sure, Animal Crossing on a surface level looks like a kid game, but when you come about building these habits, when it comes to actually doing a progress, like doing an active job to in a progress to achieve something big in the future, is a very grown up thing. It's not a no kid is thinking about these type of things. Kids, by biological nature in their head, they're always thinking about the short term.
Yeah.
Well, short, long term, even for adults, is difficult, and that's what we have to deal with every single day. School, work, hobbies, friends, all of these take time. None of this is instant. The only thing that's instant is buying a snack. That's instant. But all of those things that's instant usually is bad in some way.
Mm-hmm.
What's good and usually is long term is like eating healthy because
Yeah.
it's not tasty all the time, not
Um.
for everyone, and it's something that you don't feel right away. But
Mhm.
feeling bad for eating junk food is almost instant. It's sugar and all that stuff, and that's sort of the parallel I like to draw to Animal Crossing. So what do you think about that? I like that's sort of my one-two philosophy about Animal Crossing.
Well, I find that interesting because another example of long-term goals is, for instance, losing weight. A lot of people keep setting that goal in their mind often. They're
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna start today.
Yeah.
Or like, I'm gonna start on Monday. And then they're like, I'll start next week. And it keeps being a goal that might be stuck there for a year, but you never start it because it's long term. And then you start it and you give up after 2 weeks
Yeah.
because it takes too long. Which is how I feel a lot of people have approached Animal Crossing. And a lot of people have approached it completely differently.
And sort of, I feel like a lot of people have learned valuable life skill in how you're supposed to build and do daily things to actually do something good. Because if you don't do that in Animal Crossing, you don't achieve much at all.
Yeah, but then there's another thing I want to I want to take a step back and talk about the villagers again. Because there's one thing I've been thinking about, and that's morals. In Animal Crossing, no one really does you a favor. The closest is Tom Nook, and you owe him for the rest of the game until you pay down everything and he cannot expand your house no more. You have villagers running up to you and they see what you have in your pockets. They're like, hey, can I have that fish? Or hey, can you deliver this dress to my friend? Or hey, do you want to buy this thing off me? They want something of you all the time. And I feel like for a lot of people playing that as kids, they learn to be selfless. But is that a game that is where you have to play as a bit too selfless? Because you expand your house, but it's not on the cost of anyone else. Everything you do in this game is your accomplishment, and it has to do with you.
I feel like to end like okay, so for a purely moral standpoint, right? I feel as no, that's not a very healthy way society works.
Like, I'm not saying you're supposed to go and ask everything of your friends if they ask you of anything, but more like if you do a favor for someone 5 times and they're big favors, you're allowed to expect a bit back. But the only thing
You're
you do,
not just allowed. You're that's how it works.
yeah,
It's social points in that sense. Is that if you give something, even if we're trained and meant like supposed to be like we're not supposed to.
we're supposed to be perfectly
It's
selfless.
supposed to be selfless and not expect something bad, but back. But the reality of the situation is that any relationship that's built on selflessness from one part isn't a healthy
Yeah.
relationship. And ask
Like
anyone about that, they will say
what
that's
you
true.
do, yeah, what you do is you do deliver this, and then they're like, "Oh, thank you," and then you come back and you get a random dress, often the dress that we're wearing, for instance. So if someone wears a weird shirt and they get delivered another shirt, they give you that weird shirt. But the other thing about that is that the task you do for them is almost close to non-rewarding. You literally can be gifted a toilet for delivering a nice dress to someone.
It's sort of like the game in a moral sense. It's trying to tell you that you're trying to win other people's affection. You're
Yeah.
trying to really impress other people, and you're not getting anything for it. And
You
that,
get back random things. And
to be honest, that's actually not very moral,
no.
and it's not very good.
You essentially get gifted their trash.
Yeah, like they give you subpar things, and I don't believe they ever do you a favor.
Mm.
No.
Mm. The only time you actually get something from them is on your birthday. You get a cake, and you get. They're like, "Oh, thank you for delivering this for me. Hey, I have this dress that's been laying in the back of my closet for a long time. You can have it." I'm not expecting that if you did something for your friend, they're supposed to gift you their favorite thing. But get them a new thing. If
Yeah.
someone's watched your dog for like 5 days in a row, maybe buy them a bottle of wine if they're old enough, or arrange like a movie night with them where you pay for the snack.
Yeah. Well,
You don't even need to do more than that. You can just pay them a little for what they've done for you. It doesn't need to be too big, but just show appreciation more than just, hey, thank you, here's my junk.
yeah, it's like the saying that you shouldn't expect something back. I'll rather say something like you can expect something back, but don't expect it in the way you want it.
Yeah, and don't expect too much. But
Yeah.
if you're giving something back to your friends because they've been nice to you,
Mm-hmm.
don't give them your trash.
Yeah, that's exactly like you
Like
can give back.
giving secondhand is not bad if they appreciate it. If they need something, you have it, give it. I'm not saying that that's too bad. I don't want you to go buy something new every time you're gonna give someone something. If you don't use it, it looks okay, here you go. But what they do in Animal Crossing is that they get a new shirt, so they take off their old one, put on the one you delivered, and then they give you the one they were wearing.
Yeah, it's that seems more
They
like
don't
a
even clean
video.
it.
It seems more like a video gamey thing.
Yeah.
Because they just want their clothes, but when you look at this as a pure moral thing, yeah, that is not very good.
Yeah.
And I'll say that um, it's to me, it feels a little bit more of a cultural thing
Yeah.
because this game is made in Japan,
Hmm.
and Japan has a very similar social way of dealing with things. So I guess you can say that I'm not completely sure about this. I'm not a social anthropologist or know anything about this, but I'll say that Japan at least has a very large gifting system in its way. But even for their standards, it's a little bit weird not to get anything back in that way.
Like, I'm not talking, like, what I'm talking about now is, yes, don't expect too much.
Hmm.
I myself have a tendency to sometimes be really selfless. I feel bad if I'm gonna expect something from my friends. I'm not saying I'm completely selfless, but I'm saying when it comes to doing favors, I don't mind buying something for like $50 for my friend and not expect anything in return, because really seeing them happy makes me happy.
Yeah.
And that's enough. But in other situations, I do I do expect, if I give respect to you, I expect respect back.
Yeah, but also the ones you really truly bond with and the one who really you consider best friends are the one who's reciprocate.
Yeah.
Those who do not reciprocate will always be at some sort of arm's length from you.
Yeah.
And you might believe that there's a close relationship, but you will always feel like it isn't quite there. And a healthy relationship needs an equal distribution about giving and taking,
Yeah.
no
And I'm
matter
not saying
how.
you like, if you spend $10 on your friend, they might spend 95 on, no, 9.5 on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more about what happens there and then. You buy a cheeseburger for your friend, they buy you a kebab the next day.
Yeah, it does.
Doesn't need to be exactly the same. It doesn't need to completely even up, but it's supposed to go a bit both ways.
Yeah, it's like equal doesn't have to mean like equal in value.
Yeah.
It can also be equal in value in other ways, like emotionally, or it could be equal in value.
But I think we have proven our point on what
I
we're
think
trying
we've
to
proven
say.
a point.
But going back to it being a video game, video games are all about, or mostly all about, you feeling valuable, or you feeling accomplished, or
I
you
feel like
feeling rewarded. Animal Crossing, most of their tasks, you don't get anything. The only time you do is when you upgrade your house. You spend enough money at the store so the store gets upgraded so you get more stuff, but it's still the store getting upgraded. They're
yeah,
still kind of the ones getting the reward for that. You see what I mean?
kind of
Like,
reminds you that you're not actually talking to actual living, breathing
yeah,
creatures.
it doesn't feel alive because I don't want your old shirt. This is a game. I'm supposed to want things in game. You're supposed to work towards a goal. I want to finish this set. Why can't they just know what I have in my house and give me that chair? This is a game after all. It's not real life.
Yeah, which
Real life, don't expect all of that. In a game, you're allowed to feel like they're giving you a purposeful, or yeah, a reward with purpose.
yeah, just remember, kids, don't take all your morals from video games because they are not accurate because they're
Yeah,
still a video game. It cannot
it's not real
simulate.
life.
It cannot simulate emotions like that. Not in that way. So yeah, it's a good point though, because when you think about it, yeah, you're just being selfless and not getting anything back.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting point. You don't really think about Animal Crossing and morals very often. You think
No.
about morals and The Last of Us. Oh, that's a big story. What's the right or wrong
Should
thing
you
to do?
kill this person? Should you not?
Yeah, I was like,
Should you
oh, it's
do
a big
this and that?
choice.
Yeah. It's more real choices there and then that you know have something to do with morals. But in Animal Crossing, it's this hidden thing in the background, and I do find that extremely interesting because I love that about Animal Crossing. I felt like the nicest person on earth. And I feel like a lot of the people I feel like talking about Animal Crossing, I'm sorry for you guys, but a lot of them seem like kind of cute. I'm talking about the guys too. Kind people who likes helping others. A
and
lot of them.
and also kind of want some validation, and
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with this.
And I feel like I see a lot of the YouTubers who's properly talking about it, who's been in this for years, seems almost like a little bit of careful people. Sorry if I'm hitting any wrong things here, but they seem like the reward they are getting from this game, because now we're talking about items in a game. You're not getting rewarded by items, but you are getting rewarded in a thank you, which is again going back to this thing with villager personalities.
Yeah,
Because now that they're not grumpy in the beginning and you're not building a relationship the same way, I feel like a lot of that is taken away.
yeah,
The validation you got in the past was that these grumpy villagers suddenly became your friend. And now it's just the same thank you over and over. And they said that on day one, and they will say that on day 698.
Well, that's kind of a shame, but it sort of also kind of makes sense because you can kind of you can't keep that progression system forever. They have to eventually become your friends, and they stay that way unless you piss them off.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a complicated issue, I would say. But people still enjoy winning people's trust,
Yeah.
and there might still be some advantages of not, you know, of having villager personalities that would like you from the beginning, because then you feel a little instant gratification. But you know, it's an interesting thing to know because I'm a little careful guy myself.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, but despite that, I still
You're a
play.
little cute.
Despite that, I still play a lot of games that's not Animal Crossing. But that's why I feel like I could get into it. But then again, I don't feel like I'm a person that seeks a lot of need to be confirmed that I'm kind,
Mm-hmm.
validation in that sense, and therefore I don't care too much about it. I'm more excited about the crafting system more than anything else.
Yeah.
Just, I'm not really trying to jab at anyone here because it's important to be validated by the ones you love. It's important to feel that the people around you actually like your presence. It's very subjective to each person, and that just colors your personality in so many beautiful ways.
Mm-hmm. And another thing that I'm thinking of when it comes to this is that what I find interesting when it comes to Animal Crossing is that I forgot what I was gonna say. That's
Great.
extremely
Beautiful.
interesting.
Best point.
You know,
Take hot take of the year.
Animal Crossing just takes my breath and brain power away. It's just so amazing.
Yeah, well, it's so
Yes, it
funny. I
does.
keep here having this huge argument about oh, it's such a well thought through game that isn't instant gratification. It isn't brain dead gameplay, but then it's actually way more brain dead than some other games that
Yeah,
I'm thinking
I
about.
feel like I'm just You know, when you're at work and you have this good rhythm, or when rather maybe not at work because some people
Some
have really
work.
stressful. I worked at a hair salon. You don't really get into a rhythm because there's always something new happening all the time.
Take the farm.
Yeah, or cleaning your house.
Yeah, cleaning your house.
You put on some good music and you're in a rhythm. Animal Crossing, kind of the same thing. You shake all the trees, pick up all the peaches, go sell when your inventory's full. You go back, shake more trees, get more peaches, go back. When inventory's full, go back again. When you're done with all the peaches, you go over to fish.
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 But of course, I do believe other people played it differently. Like, I hardly farmed.
Yeah, well.
And a lot of people, I never did this, but a lot of people made, like, put paths or put, like, these, what's it called?
Roads.
Patterns.
Patterns, yeah.
You could make patterns you could put on your shirt, but you could also put them as kind of like a carpet, a little piece of carpet, and make paths outside. Now you can actually make paths that show up on your map.
Paths.
Proper paths.
Okay.
You get a tool to make actual paths.
Yeah.
Like you can lay brick, you can lay dirt, stuff like that. Before Sahara, no, not Sahara. The walrus guy would sell you some of those.
Yeah.
When he showed up, you gave him food, and he would give you some interesting things like road patterns or other type of stuff like that. You could get grass patterns. You get the point.
Mm.
Here in New Horizons, you get those differently. And what is interesting is that a lot of people have played previous Animal Crossing games like people who hasn't done it before will play New Horizons. Or Nintendo has really listened to what their fans do with the game and seem to have made it something closer to what they already wanted it to be. So what they've seen is how people play it and then enhance those things.
So do you think New Horizons is a healthy direction for the franchise?
I do.
So do I.
I really do.
But why? Is it because of what you just said, or do you think there's more to it?
I think also because it's showing that just simple games can be more immersive. Like I said before, the villagers would just walk around. Then they would start watering their plants, and now they're eating, sitting around, wearing glasses. They couldn't do that before. They read books. They come more alive.
Yeah. immersive.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, well, and also just the aspect of creating something from the bottom, the
Yeah.
ground up, you know.
It will give you a different gameplay.
They give you different gameplay and like the ultimate satisfaction. Like,
Mm-hmm.
look at my village.
Yeah, look at what I have accomplished.
Just inviting your friends into online lobby and just like, I gotta show you around. You
Yeah.
know, it's like the pride of of creating something.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all can relate to that.
Yeah, and I have seen comments of people saying that, or on Twitter, I've seen people commenting that they like to play it more chill. They liked how mundane it was, and they're hoping that they don't have to start grinding in the game to move on forward. I really hope that for the people who did like exactly how the classic Animal Crossing games were, the previous ones, that it kept in an option. But like I said earlier in the podcast, it does kind of seem like it based on the fact that you can still buy furniture, you can still buy clothes, and you can still grow money on trees.
I feel like for those who gonna like love just the way the Animal Crossing has been, it's just gonna be like, okay, so for the first half of the game, I just gotta build up a village. But once they got that village up and running, it's just gonna be like Animal Crossing has always been.
Yeah, and I
It's just now you
myself,
created it.
yeah, and
You
I myself I'm a little afraid that that's actually gonna happen.
oh, you are.
Yeah, because I want it to feel exciting every day. But then again, if you build up your city and you're proud of it, but you get bored, rebuild it.
Yeah, just rebuild or
'Cause
go somewhere else on the
one
island.
thing that they're letting you do now is that when you place the building, it's not permanent. You can move it.
Yeah, you can move it, you can rearrange things, and it's like for those who love Animal Crossing as it used to be, they're gonna find pleasure and creating like in playing the stage of the game where you have a village with everything infrastructure, everything working like it used to.
Like there are Nook miles, you know those tickets I talked about.
Yeah,
You can earn Nook miles from doing stuff like that.
yeah. So
So
it's
it
like
seems
they
like they've still put that in the
yes,
game.
to still have that satisfaction, and then for those who are liking a new direction of the game or want to do more, there's like plenty of more stuff outside of the village you can do, or you can create more stuff outside. You know, you can, as to say, you can even explore other islands.
Yeah.
So it's like it gives you
can
some
actually go
variety
to
of
one
gameplay.
random island once a day or something. I don't remember how often, and where you can meet a random villager that you don't have yet, or they've called them islanders, I guess, this time around. But you know what I mean. That you can invite to your island, but these are always different, and you can find, like I said earlier, new plants, new things that you can bring back to your own island, meaning that there's gonna be so much variety on your island, and also between you and your friends, because this game has started putting a lot of effort on online.
Yeah, that's great, and I think that's the next step in Animal Crossing for sure. I think we gotta wrap this up.
To
okay?
do a little summary,
Yeah, let's wrap this up.
we are both excited for New Horizons.
Fuck, I'm definitely gonna play the game
Yeah.
for sure.
It does seem like they're bringing out the new things. We talked a bit about the morals of the game. We've talked about nostalgia of the game and a lot of other things. And we would love to hear you guys' opinions on it.
Yes, and like the idea of the progress, the idea of the long-term satisfaction.
Yeah.
And also how, just like my last point, is that how they managed to keep the nostalgia in.
Because it still feels like Animal Crossing.
It feels like Animal Crossing, and yet they introduce something so much new and interesting.
And I'm also, one thing that I haven't mentioned, I'm excited for the new music. Because in the past it's been pling, 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 and kind of cute. Now it seems like they're having a bit more like jazzy, more fun background.
We're having the vibes now.
Yeah, and I'm like, because they change music within every hour, so 1 a.m. has a different tune from 5 p.m. They all have their own song.
And now it's like an island. I don't even know how they're gonna do that now. So
I
it's like
think it's going to be a little more tropical, but it has sounded a bit more jazzy and cool and not just pling, pling, pling. You get
all right.
what I mean?
I like that.
And I'm not hating on the previous Animal Crossing music because I really loved it, but you get my point.
I think your parents get the point.
Hopefully. Hi, Mom, if you're listening.
Hi.
If you got this far, Mom, I'm proud of you because this is Animal Crossing we're talking about.
So I hope for those who will listen and who's listening, hope you're having fun with the game.
And I hope you enjoyed this podcast. And
I kind of enjoy how we've been doing it so far.
Yeah, me too.
Like I like when we talk and just sort of go point to point to point. I think I made my point pretty clear.
yeah, And I later we're gonna talk about, for instance, Skyrim, and but then it's gonna be more breaking down the gameplay.
Yeah.
And in a different way. We're gonna talk about world building, story, stuff like that. Animal Crossing has sort of a story, but from game to game, or within one game, it's like we said, you create your own story. The whole world has another story.
Yeah. And well, I think from this jump, and like this jump off from Animal Crossing to other games is going to be very useful, because Animal Crossing definitely represents another aspect of video games that seldomly have games in it.
Mhm.
This isn't many like Animal Crossing. The only things I can come on top of my mind, as what we talked earlier, is like Stardew Valley. It's like Harvest Moon, even Sims and some simulator games.
Yeah.
They're the only ones I can think of. There are
Farming Simulator. It's mundane tasks.
mundane tasks, but they're for some reason very fun. Minecraft too, actually.
Minecraft as well.
Yeah, but many of these games have huge success.
Yeah,
So
but another thing is that in these games, people mod it. People make funny videos of trying to kill their sims as fast as possible. In Minecraft, you had redstone, you have mods, you have competitions, you have huge servers where you have plugins, you have so much more happening.
yeah,
People have turned the game into their own thing. Minecraft, specifically, in my opinion, is not just made by Notch and then later bought up, and you know what I mean. It's also made by the fans.
well, that's I can say for one thing is that for sure Minecraft is going to be the topic for a future podcast.
It will.
Same with Skyrim
Mm-hmm.
and other games, but those two are definitely going to be a topic. So
They're
stay
definitely
tuned for
gonna be
those.
Yeah.
They're going to be huge things.
Thank you so much for watching this one.
Listening.
Sorry, I'm used to streaming.
Thank you for
so much.
listening.
Thank you for listening. So please subscribe.
Subscribe, leave a comment, like, ring that bell.
Wow. All of those YouTube things.
Follow us on our social medias. We have a Twitter. Yes, and don't forget to follow Ariel on her Twitch. She does stream games, play Minecraft, and now I'm gonna play Animal Crossing as well.
I'm gonna play it when it gets released. Stay tuned for when we post next. We think the next topic might be Skyrim.
Next topic I want to be about Skyrim.
We want to get Skyrim and Minecraft kind of out of the way, because we're gonna come back to those games quite a bit.
Those games gonna be like the poster boys about every example.
Yeah, we're gonna use example.
We're just gonna get them out of the way.
Yeah.
Shove them out of the way like you guys have done now.
We're gonna do research and stuff first, so don't worry. It's not gonna be too shoved away.
Yeah. Don't worry. Well, we have a lot to talk about already. We're almost dying to talk about it as of now.
Please give us suggestions if you like this on what we can talk about later.
Yeah, we take suggestions and we take critique. This is the first time. Lay it on us. We can take it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna cry in the corner, but we can take it.
We can cry on each other's shoulder.
Yeah, we got each other. Don't worry.
Take it.
And once again, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah. And again, please subscribe. And I hope you enjoyed our first podcast.
Yes, and this has been Cornelius. I go by the tag The Epic Pirates.
And I'm Tilda, or Errol Ness, which is my name, or especially on Twitch, or as other people like to call me, Airlines.
So, in the world of gaming, there's a lot to discover. I'll see you next time.